everyone. I've often heard that it has been said that struggling artist is sort of the nature of trying to find and make a living through your creativity. And today I'm here to tell you why that is not true. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, your creativity, like any other endeavor in the human experience, is what you make of it. And in your creativity, especially for those artists out there, I want to show that you actually have a key, a secret wealth that is beyond anything you've seen around you. And so today, let's talk about how to tap into that. My name is Oni Onyabor, and this is Pro-Lit-Fic, and I'm helping people find better living through creativity and expressing their inner artist. And today I want to talk about the story of true wealth and the myth of the struggling artist. So the first story I want to talk about actually is a story about some cavemen. Actually, we're going to go way back in the day. Now these cavemen, they were kind of wandering around, and there wasn't really much developed going on at the time. Obviously, they were cavemen. They were like Neanderthals, Cro-Magnons, whatever have you. And they were wandering around in the bush or whatever, and a lot of them came into this strange sort of watering hole, right? And they would call their friends over, and there was this strange sort of sickly black water that came out, right? And at first a few of them tried to drink it. Next time a few of them tried to rub it on their skin, but it was really slick and it wouldn't get off. And at first they just thought, this is a dangerous area. We actually need to avoid this place, right? Because oftentimes people would go in the sickly black water and they would get kind of hurt, and they'd come out and it'd be very difficult to get them out. So everyone just avoided that area, and it was just a really, really bad, disgusting area that nobody wanted to be in. Now, flash forward a few years later, the same area, let's talk about around 1890, right? Come around the Industrial Revolution, a bunch of these guys roll through the same area, and the minute they see this sort of sickly, gross water, they get really, really excited, and they build a whole quarantine around it, and they stake claims around the entire land. And then they set up a town near there, and it becomes one of the richest towns in that area. Now, if you're paying attention, you'll have realized that that sickly black ooze water is actually oil, right? And in the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, oil was often likened to black gold, because it's what started the petroleum rush and created basically modern civilization as we know it. Everything from your cars, your boats, your electricity, all these things come from the fossil fuels created from this oil that we, are selling off by the drums, and whole wars have been fought over this thing. But at the time, if you remember in the story, the Cro-Magnons, the Neanderthals, they saw this thing as sickly, disgusting, and harmful to them. And I want to say your creativity is like that. So the thing is, when you're an artist, people are going to look at you as the weirdo, right? You are doing things that are unconventional, right? And the reason is because you're living your life. If you're really truly living as a creative, full, imaginative person you're capable of, you're living your life on a higher vibration, right? We'll talk it out, and maybe I'll put the Hawkins scale here. But a creative person, someone who has their mind open and who's very creatively abundant, and they're living in imagination, they're not stuck in the lower realm of shame and guilt. They're not stuck trying to survive. They're not stuck trying to necessarily always find their way to make it through the day. They're thinking beyond even just the immediate future. They're thinking way into other worlds, different possibilities, different realities. They're tapped into something much, much higher. Now, if you find yourself to be one of these people where you're always imagining about being someone or somewhere greater, then lucky you, you're a creative. Now, for some of you, it might come out through how you draw and make art in that sense, where you draw it out. Some people comes out in their painting. Some people, like me, it's through my writing and how I create narratives, right, and weaving words together. Others, it's through their music. Others, that creative expression might come through how they play a sport. Regardless of however you find a way to express this, I want you to think of your creativity as this literal black gold, right? It's oil. It has the ability to bring in this whole new world of possibilities. But most people sad to say, are Cro-Magnons. They are Neanderthals. They are not developed enough to understand the capacity of this thing. Just like people, our ancestors in the past, would have seen this sickly black ooze and saw it as dangerous because they didn't have fire yet. They didn't know that it could be used. They didn't understand all the processes that this could be run through to create everything from our textiles to our printing press to our electricity to our video games to all the things that came from that discovery of how to utilize oil. They had no possibility, no even like gander at. But the minute people figured it out, in the early industrial age, even now we see that oil is one of the most precious resources on the planet. Wars are being fought for it. Entire areas have been stripped and killed for it because it is so incredible. It's able to create this other form of life, a completely different form of life going into the 20th century that we had never seen before that. All these changes from going from horse and buggies to airplanes in the sky to trains to airplanes, everything in between, from having video games, electricity, common education, that all came because of the discovery of oil. That is the same with your creativity. That is the same with your labor of love. Now, for a lot of people, especially, it's going to come up in how they earn money. So, oftentimes, people will attribute money to things like hard work, determination, focus, discipline, which all these things are important. They're vital. Just like that oil is useless without a refinery, without something to harness it and pull it out of the ground and use it. It's completely worthless. But, well, not worthless, but it doesn't know how to be utilized correctly. However, when those structures are in place, that's what gives rise to that creativity come through. And you see, even a little bit of creativity can go a long way. And then whole industries are built around it. Good examples of this, right, are things like the NBA, things like Hollywood, things like, the book industry. All these little creative endeavors have now given birth to all these fantastic, huge looming industries because everybody's just trying to get a little bit, just get a little taste. But it all starts with the creativity. It all starts with the oil, right? If there's no oil, that oil rig, those trains carting it out to there, those huge drum barrels full of it, doesn't matter. None of that industry matters without the oil. Just like so many of the things we talk about, whether it be our businesses, whether it be the family ties, the morals we teach, none of that matters without our art. Think about it, right? If you go back to like religions, a lot of religions are written down in their holy scriptures. That's how they've been passed down throughout generations, and they'll be brought together through stories and utilized that way. So story is literally the transmission of teaching morality, teaching principles, right? Oftentimes people have proverbs. No matter where you come from, everywhere in the world, it's this artistic expression of story and narrative and creativity that ultimately gives rise, that gives industry, that gives life to all these other facets of our reality. But it starts with that black gold, your creativity. So in fact, if you're a creative person and you are looked at as kind of strange and weird, or maybe a little bit off the beaten path, it's because you're living at the source of the well, not as an approximation of it. So many people are building their lives around the oil rig that others have found, right? A lot of people will try to be a guy working on the oil mine, or they'll be the guy working at the train. They're always just living in approximation to that source. But the people who make the real money, those are the people who own it, who own the source of the oil. So you, as whoever your artist, whatever your art you do, whatever your expression of love is, own that labor of love. And I promise you, the wealth and the possibilities with that wealth, as well as the blessings that come and extend to every people, that will go a long way. And that's how it starts, from understanding that you are the source of you are a conduit from which all that comes through, and that the true nature of that creativity is love. And that's what everybody's trying to get to. Most people are just struggling and coming off the periphery. But if you're a true creative and you sit in that to the point where nothing else matters to you, understand you're sitting on the gold mine. You have your black gold. So that's the lesson for today, right? Remember that better living through creativity and expressing your inner creator is the start to a healthy and happy life. Guys, this is Oni Onyabor saying thanks again. Now, if you found this to be helpful and there was some goodness in there for you, please feel free to leave a comment, like, and subscribe, as well as share this video with anybody who needs it. It's through these little contributions that make a huge difference and allow me to get this message out to as many people as possible and make a difference in the message. Again, appreciate you guys for your time. You stay happy, stay healthy, and remember to treasure your black gold. Peace.